What's up, everyone? Fritz here again with another episode of Sneakerhead Ambition, and today I'm going to give another just market update video going over, different aspects of what's going on with the sneaker market, prices, and how that impacts people's perception of whether or not reselling is dead. So I'll go into detail on that. I made a post about this a couple days ago on Instagram, but regardless, I'm going to go over a pretty big aspect of why it's so much harder right now for people to make it in reselling. All right, now real quick before I get into the video and the topic of the video, I do want to mention that I'm going to start doing scheduled and paid coaching calls or consulting or whatever you want to call it. I'm doing this because, quite frankly, I'm at a point now on Discord, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, where I've really tried to answer pretty much every comment that's ever been made on anything I've posted. I've really tried to answer every person that DMs me, even if it's just somebody that has never run a bot and they're trying to learn. Like I answer some pretty basic questions, right? That they could definitely do if they did some research. Now, I'm not criticizing this because when I started off in 2018, 2019, like I asked some dumb questions in Discord, right? I got roasted for it at the time. But I really just think that people in Discord and just in general on that platform are just assholes to people, right? Like when somebody's asking a question with the answer in the question, like they just don't. I didn't know how to run bots, right? I didn't know how to do anything, and like in retrospect, I'm like, oh, that was an idiotic question. So just long story short, right? I try to be very helpful to people because I know that I really struggled and just had, quite frankly, no knowledge of the topic when I started. Now, I'm doing this because I've gotten to a point where just my productivity when I answer all of these people and really give thoughtful answers will take a hit, right? Like I've gotten to a point now where I can't just answer every person who asks me, what's a bot? Like, what do I need? Like, what's a good bot, right? Like a little bit of research would get them a long way. But regardless, I'm really going to cut back on that. I don't like that, but I need to prioritize my productivity and money making. So I'm gonna stop spending so much time just answering random questions. Like if you know me and I've been in contact with you and I talk with you regularly, right? Don't think that like I'm not gonna answer you, but I can't just keep answering random people. So people and I don't want to leave those people out just in the cold. So I am gonna start scheduling the calls. I'm going to start doing it on you can purchase one session for an hour, or you can purchase at a discount, 4 sessions for a month, 1 per week, or you could spread those 4 out over 2 months if you wanted to do 1 every other week so that I could kind of work with you and we could talk regularly through that time. If you are interested in this, I'm taking 5 people from Instagram, but that had been posted a while ago. So those 5 are already taken. Most likely, I guess if people were interested, but I would imagine at the point that this video is posted, those spots are filled. But I am going to take 5 people from YouTube. First 5 people that comment or get in contact with me and say they saw it on the YouTube video, I will put them in, and I'm going to try to limit it to a certain amount right now so that I know I can really give everybody the proper attention. While again, like I said, trying to scale down on how much just general communication I'm doing. So if you are interested and really need help, I think that's a good option. I do believe that I can be extremely helpful to people if I'm really just kind of working with them and just telling them in their specific situation how to do better. So that was a long-winded, pitch for this, but if you really want help and need somebody to work with you on a one-on-one basis, I do think I can be helpful. So, reach out to me on here, Instagram, Twitter, just say you saw it on YouTube, and I will take the first 5 people that I hear from. So, all right, now back to the topic of today's video. I'm going to be breaking down the price of sneakers right now and the amount of targets you have to actually attempt to hit when you're sneaker botting. All right, now I'm going to go into the 2 factors, right? The first one, like I said, was price. Now, anybody who pays any attention to this market can tell that the prices of shoes are down, like duh, okay? But what I'm trying to get at in this video is that when I started botting, and even up until about 2 years ago, so the past 2 to 5 years and any time before that, there were a ridiculous amount of drops to go for. And that's because of the prices, right? A prime example of this was the Jordan 1 Lucky Greens that dropped like 2 or 3 weeks ago from this point that this video is being posted. Now, those shoes, anytime before 2 years ago, would have been going for like $300, minimum $280 on every size at least on StockX and GOAT. That's not in person. You could be getting way more than that in person. There was a green and white pair that dropped that were way worse than them and did way better because of the time of the drop. Now, that's an issue for a lot of reasons, all right? First, I'll get into the targets in a second, right? But first, you can't practice on many drops now, right? I'm fortunate enough that I got to a point before the shit hit the fan in the economy that I had the resources and it built up the skill where I was doing this at scale already, right? My game is volume. I'm not depending on a drop or two to sustain my business, right? If I have a bad couple days, it's whatever, it happens. But people who are just starting off now, they don't have many opportunities to run these bots. And the only times that they're able to run them each month are on drops where it's like the Travis Scott drop. You're gonna have a hard time practicing and doing well on a drop where people like me, people that are above me botting and people that are just building up to the level I'm, again, thankfully at this point, they're like, we are throwing the kitchen sink at these drops, right? You and your setup of 25 sneakers accounts, while I respect that because I was there at one point, good luck, man. Like, good luck. So that's a big issue. When I started off, I could run on all these little drops like these Jordan 1s, or let's say 4 general releases during a month. Like 1 month, I could run for a bunch, like 4 or 5 Jordans. Now you're lucky if you get 1 or 2 that's really like objectively profitable, no way you lose money. You're gonna make $50 to $100 on this pair. Those Jordan 1 Lucky Greens would have been a feast, right? 2 or 3 years ago. I would have hit 100, 200 pairs of those and cleaned up. Now I didn't even run for them, right? I'd still have to do that morning. I'm like, I was gonna maybe run for a couple people ACO, but they're going for under retail right now on GOAT and StockX. That just changes the game dramatically for a lot of botters. If you have not reached a scale yet where like you're running automations, raffle botting, sneaker botting, you run Shopify, you run Footsites, you run FNL, you've got Haya and you run all these obscure sites. If you've got one bot and you're trying to run sneakers and Shopify and you only really get a couple times a month right now because of the prices to actually attempt to get a shoe, it makes it a lot harder for you to learn and improve. So the pricing, right, has weeded out a lot of people in the market just because of the fact that there's not as many profitable shoes to go for, right? I rarely go for Jordan general releases anymore. While 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, like every time there was a any 1, any 3, any 4, 5s, 11s, right? All the retros were amazing, right? We had other sites too, Yeezy Supply, RIP. All the, like, just more to go after. So the prices have, obviously it hurts the margin you're gonna get on shoes, but it's also just completely removed a lot of pairs from even attempting to go for. So that's definitely a major issue. Now, I do wanna mention this as well. Some people, right, have networks of buyers, right? Buyers that are buying the pairs from them that allow them to, go after pairs that maybe to many people seem like a waste of money or just aren't profitable, okay? So I'm gonna go over some of these. Some people could be aware of this site out there that just charges ridiculous prices for shoes. That's the move. You could have somebody who goes to a lot of sneaker conventions, and at those, right now, sales are slow, right? They're not humming along like they were for a while. But if you are at those and you have a good setup and you've got a lot of supply and a good selection, you can tend to get a higher price there. You could have local buyers that aren't at a convention but are just in your area that you have built that network out where you can agree to them for, like, let's say a pre-order price. And some of you might be like, why would you do that? If y'all haven't realized, there is a ridiculous amount of fakes out there. So, you can build this trust and rapport with certain buyers and sell, right, and link up and just know that, like, I see people regularly get pretty crazy prices for shoes because, they're people that they've built up relationships with and sell and buy from regularly. They rock with them, right? They don't care that they're paying $20, $30 or more because they know the person. They're not worried about meeting up with somebody they already know, right? It's not a sketchy meetup with somebody you don't know. They know they're legit if this person like runs bots or has a reputation online. So it's not StockX where they're just flushing through thousands of pairs of just fakes, right? So it could be that local network too. So my bad, a fourth, just a store, right? Some areas, right, there's sneaker boutiques. Obviously, if you go in there, the prices are pretty outrageous. They've got their own type of buyer in that store. Now, if you are bringing in enough inventory, right, you could maybe have a relationship with one of those stores and move products in bulk, having agreed upon a price. Some people sell on social media sites where they do pre-orders, right? I do a lot of ACO for people where I run their information. You can have ways to sell things, right, or make money off of shoes, but you do need to be aware that those lucky greens, I don't doubt that there's a lot of sellers out there who made money off that shoe. The issue becomes when somebody that doesn't have those networks in place thinks that, oh, I see these other people moving these shoes and selling them at this price. Like, oh, I saw somebody buy these for $300 on Instagram. Like, I'm doing this. And then they go on GOAT and, they're losing money on every shoe. Because you got to remember too, I know the majority of you know this, but like, remember the price on StockX and GOAT, you got to pay fees and shipping still. And you had to get the shoes shipped to you and all this other stuff. So just keep that in mind. It really is, you need to know. I did a video a long time ago about like, what are your like attributes as a reseller? Kind of like think about like Madden 2K, right? You're better at different things, right? Your network is a major attribute to how good of a reseller you are. I don't care if you can hit 1,000 pairs of shoes, but let's say this is a bad example, but you live out in Alaska or something, right? Like, and there's nobody to sell in your local area, but you got all these shoes to Anchorage. That's an extreme example that's not that legitimate, but you feel what I mean, right? It doesn't like, you can be great at hitting shoes, but if you're going after the wrong shoe, selling in marketplaces where you're not making hardly any money after all the work you're doing to hit all those shoes, there are things about reselling that don't just come down to like, I got the shoe, right? It's, do you hold? Do you sell to this person? Where do you sell to another platform? Like, now granted, if you want to hear my opinion on holding right now, you shouldn't be holding anything for the next 3 or 4 years, in my opinion. But I could come around on that. I'll let you know if I change my mind. But again, like, you need to know who you are as a reseller, not what other people are doing, because you don't know their network of buyers, right? I know people that I've networked with myself, and I know them as resellers, and we communicate it like over what's going on with botting, that like, I know where they sell. And I know that other people look at them and look at me sometimes and are like, why are you going for this shoe? How did you make money off that? Where are you selling it? You need to know what you have, again, as like attributes as a reseller. So just be smart. Remember that don't just go for shoes because you see other people are able to move them at certain prices. If you don't know those people that are buying them, you can't do that, right? So like I said, maybe use pre-orders, try to find sites where they are profitable, and just be smart about what shoes you're going for. It really is a big piece of this whole reselling thing. Just know the market. Anyways, that's all for today's video. That was just a quick one today. I just wanted to make that clear because I was thinking that the other day. I was like, man, like, if I was as good at botting and had the resources I have right now, like 3 or 4 years ago, I could have run these lucky greens up 100, 200 pairs and whew, could have eaten. It's just not the reality of the situation right now, right? The Travis Scotts, right? People are complaining about this. While the lucky greens might not make any money, I did hit several of those. So again, like, does it suck that they're going for $700 or $800 instead of $1,500? Yeah, but like, the market isn't dead. It's just, the margins have just been crushed on a lot of the things that people were moving for extremely low margins, right? There were people moving retro Jordans that were $200 for $240, right? Doesn't exist anymore, right? Now you're losing money on those shoes. So there used to be a lot more targets to hit. Those targets are shrinking. Margins are shrinking. Stock is shrinking. Remember, a lot of these companies, Nike, Adidas, the Under Armour, they all came out last year. Instead of around summer of 2023, they're slashing the amount of stock that they're producing on shoes by like, I think it was like 30 to 40% in some cases. That's now. So I do anticipate, a cut in stock. That should make, obvious supply and demand, that should make prices go up. So hopefully we'll start to see that hit the market and start to play out. I do think that, like I said, will start to happen soon. So fingers crossed. So I'm happy to have posted another video, right? Like I told you, I will be back to posting hopefully twice a week. and just bringing you more content in a difficult time right now for a lot of people. Reselling, I know a lot of people are struggling, and a lot of people, it is a great time to start. I can go into that, you know, in more depth in another video, because I do think right now is a good time to start. Just like in a recession, it's a good time to start a business. It's a good time to learn a new skill, because there will always be a rally after these things. So check back in a couple days. I should have some of the live cops up that I had filmed and had ran over the past month or two while I hadn't been posting. So while those aren't, you know, things that happened a week or so ago, they are still relevant. You can still always learn from watching me make my mistakes. So check back for that. And as always, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of those. I do post more frequently on there, usually Instagram at least once a day. So check back there. And until next time, see ya.